Hello Horror Hounds, it's time for another trip to Freddy's Nightmares. Another trip to Freddy's Nightmares, and we're on to episode 17. We're on to episode 17, which stars a certain reanimator, a young Mr. Jeffrey Combs. Okay, so episode 17 is called Love Stinks, and the title really only applies to the what I call the A story, the first story of the two in the episode. This is the first time, I think, really where the two stories are completely unconnected. Normally a character from the A story takes centre stage in the B story, but these two are pretty much unconnected. The episode got a big cheer from me at the start with the reintroduction of the Beefy Boy burger bar that we first saw introduced in episode 2. This episode's co-written by Michael DeLuca, the producer of it, and I think he introduced Beefy Boy. I think I might have joked in one of my earlier videos that his big, snidely, let's be fair, that his biggest contribution to the Nightmare on Elm Street universe was Beefy Boy, but Beefy Boy's been sprinkled through the odd episode here or there. It's the weird through line of this series, but it's been taken over and is now a pizzeria called Cheesy Boy. So unfortunately, Beefy Boy is no longer, but all hail Cheesy Boy. And Cheesy Boy, I can't believe I'm saying these sentences. Cheesy Boy features in the B story, but the first story is about a guy who has trouble saying "I love you" to his girlfriend of 3 years, and she gets upset and leaves a party that he's throwing. So, in a fit of pique, he decides to try it on with another beautiful girl that's caught his eye, and he says I love you to her because his best friend just gives the advice that those 3 words are the quickest way to get your end away, basically. So he tries it out, and it all goes a bit Fatal Attraction. The gender politics in this one are very much of a time, very, very questionable. You do have the women portrayed as sort of like clingy, desperate to hear the words "I love you" from the guys, and the guys being of the opinion that that's the quickest way to get laid, is to say "I love you" whether you mean it or not. But basically, the morality of it is, be careful who you say "I love you" to, because well, you may just end up shackled to some psycho woman. It like many things of its time. It doesn't really cast the women in the best of light here. There's a wonderful little nightmare Cronenbergian moment where the guy's fear of being joined forever to his girlfriend are realised literally in a very Dead Ringers-y kind of way. And there's a nice nod towards the end of the episode to actually to Fatal Attraction, but it ain't a bunny that's getting boiled in the pot. It's the head of his girlfriend being boiled by his sort of psycho stalkery girl. I'll be completely honest with you. Watching this in 2016, whoa, time slip. Watching this in 2016, I was kind of rooting for the girl who was justifiably pissed off, I feel, by being lied to just so that he could get his end away with her. But there you go. It's sort of come and gone in a flash. A little bit like the B story, actually. There's another high school graduate who's looking forward to his summer, and this one is in the classic Freddy's Nightmares wheelhouse. That all he wants to do is have the holiday to end all holidays and go on a summer road trip and go surfing. But his uncle his mother's sister, because his dad's a deadbeat dad and fucked off when he was young. So his Uncle Ralph comes back, who's been to business school and wears a suit and a tie and stuff like this, and basically gets him a summer job. It's let's tick them off, people. It's the fear of entering the real world. It's the fear of responsibility. It's the fear of having to get a job after you've graduated high school. It's the fear of growing up, essentially. And we've seen episode after episode of this before. What we do have in this one, there are a couple of elements. One is Jeffrey Combs in almost full-on twitchy Herbert West mode, but he's the not the owner, but the manager of the Cheesy Boy, where he gets his nephew a job, and he's sort of the manager from hell, seemingly hell-bent on ruining his summer and ruining his chances to have a life. He takes him from the day shift to the night shift, so he can't go out and see his friends. And then when he actually starts making a success of that, Ralph becomes the night manager himself and starts making pizzas with his own secret ingredient, which are his nephew's friends. There's no real point spoiling it. It's the whole purpose of the episode. You'll enjoy it anyway, watching Jeffrey Combs put people in pizza. And in a weird kind of way, while I was watching this, I was thinking that by this point, pizza and Nightmare on Elm Street have kind of become synonymous. Pizza is the fast food, food for the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. We've had the soul food, the soul pizza in Dream Master? Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if is it Dream Master or Dream Child? Please tell me. Because I've gone completely blank, as you can tell. And by this point, Freddy's being referred to in an awful lot of the media as Pizza Face and the like. So bizarrely, yes, the fast food of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise is pizza. So at the very end of this, to see Freddy doing his little end segment, pulling an eyeball off a pizza, popping it in his mouth, going, pretty much sums up where we're at with Nightmare on Elm Street at this point. And so, yeah, if Coombs hadn't been in it, I think it probably would have been far less enjoyable. But as it was, the B story is actually much stronger than the A story, and has got some more legs to it. But let's jump straight to episode 18, which is called... Ooh. It's also co-written by Michael DeLuca again, and it's called The Art of Death. Welcome back, and my brain fart is over. I remembered that the soul food pizza is in Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. So weirdly, whilst episode 17 looks back at The Dream Master, which came out before this, and has two stories which are completely unconnected, episode 18, The Art of Death, looks forward to The Dream Child, Nightmare 5, and has super connected two stories. And this is a top-notch episode. The first story, the A story, follows a young artist, a cartoonist, who finds that his comic book character, the Phantom, sort of visits him and shows him how he can make his fantasies, sort of his revenge fantasies, come true. He draws the cartoon of what he wants to happen and then draws the Phantom in it, and then that happens, so he gets revenge on the jock that's bullying him, who's the boyfriend of the girl he likes. It all starts going a little bit hinky, and he has the Phantom kidnap the girl he's sort of obsessing over, and sort of goes to rescue her. All of this sort of prefigures the comic book fan and the comic book artist from Nightmare 5, the Dream Child, and the whole Super Freddy segment, which I'm not the greatest fan of in the world, but it's interesting to see sort of that idea from the big screen franchise in a sort of protean form here. In the TV show, the girl that the Phantom kidnaps and sort of ties up in this sort of confined space has claustrophobia. So the B story follows her after she's been released. She's needed psychiatric help, understandably, to get over the trauma of the kidnapping and being locked in the enclosed space, which preys on her phobia anyway. And it follows her as she's being released for the weekend, but her parents also take the weekend away, leaving her in the house on her own. Does that, as I'm saying that now, does that sound like a really implausible setup to you? It does to me, but it's the kind of setup for what turned out to be just one of the strongest segments I've seen to date in this show, where she's warned that the onset of symptoms of her PTSD could range from just a headache to paranoia to hallucinations. She's really not sure what's happening to her whilst she's in the home on her own. It's gripping. Do you know what? Some of these are cheesy as all get out. This one is absolutely gripping. I'll be completely honest with you. This is one of my favourite episodes of all time, The Art of Death. It's absolutely superb. The run on from the A story to the B story being the fallout of the A story, is superb. I love it. There's a hint. There's a tiny hint. I think that the institute she goes to after her kidnapping is Western Hills. This segment starts with her having a discussion with her doctor and him warning her about how she has to take it easy and be wary for any signs that she's having the onset of her phobia. And she makes a sort of light-hearted joke about it. And his line in response to her, he fluffs it, and they keep the fluffed line in. And what he's trying to tell her really is that he's being serious. But what he actually says is, he says, straighten it, and then corrects that to straight time. Now, so the line is obviously something to do with straight. He says, straighten it, straight time, I'm serious. There is no phrase, straight time, that I'm aware of. I don't know why they didn't go for a second take. It's quite into the scene. Maybe they didn't have time. Now, here's my fan theory. Fan theory goes, wah, 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 wah. He fluffs the line. What he corrects it with, straight time, doesn't mean anything. What I instantly thought of is the line that's repeated a few times in Nightmare on Elm Street 3, in The Dream Warriors, at Western Hills. Straight talk only in this room. I'm convinced, or I've convinced myself, that the script was supposed to have him say, to shut down her joke, to tell her that he was being serious. He was supposed to say, straight talk only, or something. It was supposed to be a reference to Nightmare 3 and the dream projects that they were doing there. And we're supposed to understand that she's been released for the weekend from Western Hills. A beautiful little tie-in that there could have been if that guy hadn't have fluffed his lines. Maybe I'm reading far too much into it, but this is what fans do. So, a superb episode. Episode 18, absolutely superb. We're really racing towards the finishing line now for season 1. We've got 4 episodes left, 2 more videos, and let's see if there are any more gems in there.